Bruce Feldman, Fox Sports, the athletic college football writer, join us to give us some perspective. This Fair Pay to Play Act in California, I guess the NCAA says it's harmful and unconstitutional, would upend the balance of national competition in college sports. Wow. This is not, if it passes, not supposed to take effect till 2023. What else can you tell us about this, Bruce?
Yeah, it's really unwieldy, Dan, and I think the NCAA is really scared of it. Mark Emmert, the president, has come out and really tried to make some threats about it. And I think talking to folks all over the West Coast who work in college athletics, I think the thing that they're scared of is the unintended consequences they think that will come with this. And what we're talking about is some of the stuff that I think gives them the most concern is doing deals with card shows and doing deals with what you might call the low-hanging fruit that, you see a lot of people do, where it's like, okay, how do you monitor that kind of money, where it comes from? Is this just going to be an easier way for boosters to funnel money to players? And I think that's the part they know that that's going to be a big problem for them in this. But this whole name, image, and likeness thing that's coming down the pipe, the NCAA really is tried to get a handle on it, and they're really not able to do it. And like you said, it's 2023. It's really unwieldy, and I don't think anybody knows really where it's headed at this point and what the NCAA can do about it, because at this point, the NCAA knows it always loses the public relations battle on this front, especially when everybody else is making a fortune, including, us in the TV business, on it. And the student athletes, while they're getting an education, that's not insignificant. People are looking at it and go, there's got to be a better way to deal with this.
Yeah, I'm just trying to understand how you can do it, how you can monitor it, make it above board. And I have no problem with these athletes cashing in on their image and their likeness, because it is their image and their likeness. The OBannon lawsuit, does that factor in at all with where we are in California?
It does, and I think some of the things that have kind of butted into this, look, the NCAA has tried to get at its rules of amateurism, and right now there's a working group that's looking at recommendations. Gene Smith, who's the AD at Ohio State, is one of the most powerful people in college sports. He's on that committee, as is the Big East Commissioner Val Ackerman, and I think what they're trying to figure out is, okay, is there a new model we can put forward that can at least make this a little more manageable? Because right now, the OBannon stuff, I think there's been a lot of cases that are coming, I don't want to say coming to a head, but they're coming down the pipeline. And I think what the NCAA is really struggling with is, what happens with, how do we get control of this? Because it is just ripe with the opportunity for not to be necessarily just to use the word exploited, but just taken advantage of, where the amateur model, and some would call it a farce already, but they're still trying to hold that model in, whereas the players are amateurs and everybody else is professionals. And so once that comes to it, and somebody says, and now these recruits are much better known as commodities when they're coming up in high school, through Twitter and social media, they're much more accessible. So here's the opportunity for a lot of people to identify them as this 5-star, this 4-star, what their worth is. And I think that scares a lot of people, not just the NCAA. I think it scares a lot of people who work at the universities and the athletic departments about that too.
And all it takes is one state to do it, and then you can guarantee, Ohio, Alabama, you're going to have these different states where you have, Michigan, where, hey, we got to keep up with them. And then it feels like, it's like I mentioned, it's like sports gambling or marijuana. Once one state does it, and then we see what the benefits are, and then another state, or you have to keep up with, these other, you have to keep up with USC. They're going to get players.
And I think it's even more problematic than the marijuana law is for universities, because in a lot of ways, I think what they look at it is the biggest threat to them. And we see this in the basketball scandal that's been, going on for like 2+ years, is the NCAA is holding on to a model which a lot of people look at and go, come on, let's be honest, there's a lot of cheating that goes on. And I talk to a lot of coaches around the country who think the cheating in college football right now is as bad as it's ever been. And again, I think that goes back to what I said a minute ago about how these recruits and commodities of what they are now are more well known and more people know about them, and the dollars are bigger. So I think that's where this thing gets to be so messy for them, and there's just so many different more ways people could skirt the system and, quite honestly, cheat the rules. And again, I think what's different here is what's a rule versus what's a law, and that's something that the NCAA has always kind of tried to sneak its hands around, and it's harder and harder for the NCAA to do that.
Bruce, good to talk to you. I know we got a little time before this is put into play, if it is ever put into play. To me, it's not a matter of if it happens, but when. But they're looking at 2023. Thank you, Bruce, as always.
Always a pleasure, Dan. Thank you.
That's Bruce Feldman, Fox Sports. He also writes for The Athletic, college football.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune into Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV. Stream for free on BR Live or download the Dan Patrick Show app.